It looks like these Marvel fans want a lighter ban on Spider-Man. Welcome everybody to the Hot Pot Boys. David and Andrew here. Spider-Man's No Way Home has officially been banned from being released in Chinese theaters. This means Sony's gonna miss out on a lot of money. But a news source, which I don't know if it has any legitimacy, but people are rolling with it, says it's because of the Statue of Liberty at the end of the movie.
Right, and I think because that sounds true enough, Reddit ran with it, some websites have ran with it, and there's been something like 75,000 comments on Reddit generated about this topic, which may or may not be fake news.
Right.
So the stimulus, I mean, the catalytic event of Spider-Man not getting a China release is real, but the reasoning is completely unconfirmed. But everybody's going down this crazy rabbit hole of conspiracies because, to be honest, I mean, it sounds true enough you could sell it.
Yeah, but let me tell you this. I don't know where they got the source from because last time I heard, I don't think China's like live streaming like the reasons why they do things. But David, what are some speculations that people have?
Well, some people were saying it's because China hates freedom and democracy. That's what the Statue of Liberty stands for, even though that's up for debate because it's from France. Anyway, they were saying basically they're like, oh yeah, China has a ban on freedom in the same way Saudi Arabia has a ban on like LGBT moments in American movies being imported.
Right. Also, a lot of people are tying it back to Tiananmen Square. Some people are saying all Phase 4 MCU movies are being banned because none of them have been released yet. Obviously, Shang-Chi, Eternals, they haven't got the China release.
Right.
So
and both of those had some pretty crazy theories too. They were saying Shang-Chi got banned because of the original source material being racist. That actually sounds like that's more like in the realm of being possibly true, or at least one of the contributing reasons. And number two, they said Eternals got banned because Chloe Zhao is now viewed as like anti-Chinese government, even though she is from China.
Right. But David, what do we think is the real reason that makes the most sense? Like,
yeah, I mean, and there's
all,
crazy theories, like literally, guys, 70,000 comments.
Some of those theories may even have a little bit of merit, but this one here, this reason right here makes the most sense to me.
By the way, guys, I think a lot of times, like when something big happens, it's like a pie distribution ratio. There's a lot of different slices of pie, big ones, little ones. The biggest reason that I truly believe the new Spider-Man movie was banned in China is because China does not want all the biggest movies of the year to be foreign films.
Right.
Like when you know when they released like best movies of the year at the end, they don't want like 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 to be American made films.
Right, in China.
Like in terms of like
Chinese
like biggest box office receipts.
Yeah.
And obviously like more of the geek fan base of Marvel or Spider-Man or whatever, they want those Spider-Man movies to be like the biggest movies of all time because that's their guy that they're rocking with. That's like geek culture.
Yeah, let me tell you this. Man, I watched Spider-Man No Way Home on the plane recently. It's a great movie. Yeah. I loved it. And guess what? I bet the Chinese officials who are deciding these things, they probably watched it too, and they were like, yo, this movie's too good, man. It's about to be number one.
Like, oh my gosh, it's too fire. They're like, 这个电影是太牛逼了.
Here's why I don't think it's because of the Statue of Liberty is too patriotic thing, is because Captain America, the most patriotic superhero of all time, had their movies released in China before.
Yeah, and it was a big box office, you know.
So they were watching a whole movie about a white guy with the American shield named Captain America. Obviously, great movie as well. But yeah, they got released. Also,
I mean, I do think, to be fair, the geopolitical environment over 5 years has changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think there was a time where China was more comfortable with 5 out of 10 year-end movies being like foreign films. Like now they're like, nah, maybe like 2 would be okay.
Well, and it's because China is trying to build up its own box office. They want their own movies to be number 1 or top 5.
And to be fair, their own movies, not that good.
Yeah,
I'm not saying none of them are good, but they're really like several steps behind in terms of quality. And anybody will tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are really good movies, but yeah, not like 10 out of 10, right? But I also think Sony being a Japanese company and Sony ultimately obviously owning Sony Pictures, you know, which is the people who own the Spider-Man franchise.
Whether or not the intellectual property belongs to Marvel, Sony owns the movie.
Yeah, they have to make the decision and be like, yo, guys, you want us to edit out the Statue of Liberty? We can't do it because it's literally the last 15 minutes or 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and they probably were like, okay, that's crazy expensive. If I edit it out or I black it out, America's going to get mad.
Yeah.
And now, like, Japan is more like allies with America, right?
And it's just bad PR for them because they would be like bending to China and catering to China in a very, very obvious way. This is not just like adding a scene in Iron Man where he goes sees like Dr. Wu or whatever. This is literally editing like the last 30 minutes. So
Yeah. So, I mean, I think long story short, Andrew, to take it to the macro out of this like movie talk, even though, I like the movie talk, we work in entertainment, but basically like these geopolitical tensions, they're going to flare up here and there for some legitimate reasons, some murky 50-50 reasons, and some illegitimate reasons. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to see a distribution amongst all three sectors. And it's just like the NBA. The NBA was banned in China for like a year or half a season or 3/4 of a season. And, because the Daryl Morey tweets. And it's like, that's a little bit more understandable in the sense of like, there was like, it was spelled out exactly. Like there was a action, a reaction. And now everybody, like, I guess in the Marvel universe, or the people who are really like tapped into like this, like supporting Spider-Man from like an economic standpoint as a geek, they're like tapped into it. So now they're having their moment.
Right.
And I just think that there's going to be a lot more of these moments, especially in these like soft power fields like entertainment, sports, and media. It's just like Brittany Griner getting stuck in Russia. Like this is like become like a chess piece in two countries that are beefing.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to Hollywood movies, movies are such like a global product. It's easy to talk about, and at the end of the day, like countries will use the push and pull over Hollywood, because some people are like, oh, Hollywood's selling out to China, blah, blah, blah. And then China's like, oh, we're buying all these theaters and we're buying all these studios. But then America's like, no. Like Hollywood's still number one. Like that's our product. Like it's kind of like this fight over Hollywood is being used as a proxy war for the geopolitical Cold War that's going on right now. And so that's why a lot of Marvel fans, to be honest, are offended because maybe you're probably pro-America and they're just like, dude, like Spider-Man, that's gonna be number one, but they're blocking our movie from being recognized as number one across the world or making as much money as it could.
Right. It was sort of like when people and a lot of people, you guys won't remember this, like 20 years ago, Titanic, they developed such a huge fan base and people wanted to make Titanic like the biggest movie ever. So some people would go back and watch it like 10 times.
Yeah.
Because it would just turn into this like cult thing.
Oh yeah, by the way, guys, just to kind of wrap it up, China bans a lot of things.
Oh, man,
and we don't like always get the reason why. Listen, they got the Great Firewall of China for the internet. So of course, like,
and I think
a Spider-Man movie, it's not that crazy to me.
And I think there are a lot of reasons out there. A lot of people speculate everything from like super economical to super evil to everything in between. I do think a portion that is overlooked by most people, because most people don't really research or spend more than like 30 seconds thinking about it, is economics.
Yeah.
Literally, like what we're talking about, box office, some of the same reason that Google and Facebook are not allowed in China as well. I think a lot of it is to cultivate domestic platforms. Yes. Do I think there is censorship as another slice of pie in that? Absolutely. But obviously in the West, if we just watch the mainstream media, we're only focused on that slice, when the other slice might even be bigger.
I mean, by all means, if anything, Chinese people would love the story of Peter Parker going to MIT. I mean,
he got Asian friends.
Yeah, he got Asian friends. He's going to MIT. I don't know. There's an argument that Peter Parker's Asian,
like,
guys.
Basically, if Chinese were gonna be one of the Marvel superheroes other than Shang-Chi, it would totally be Peter Parker.
Absolutely.
He's small. He's doing essentially like Chinese acrobatics off the
Great
walls.
student. Amazing student, nice kid.
The moves are similar to kind of like the wuxia pian, like the flying on the swords and things like that.
It's not Peter Parker, it's Peter.
I mean,
Peter Pang.
Listen, guys,
It's
I
Peter
think
Panger.
anytime like something sounds like it would be true, especially like in the urban world, you guys may or may not know, people used to accuse Ciara of being a man, and it seems like
Crazy.
Whatever, maybe it seems true enough, she got a sharp jaw or whatever. I don't know. And then they accused Tommy Hilfiger of saying the N-word with the hard ER, and that wasn't true either. But like to this day, because it sounds true-esque and it like fits with like something that kind of sounds smartish, but like might not is ultimately wrong, people roll with it. And I think that like if you're like a Chinese American and you're like bothered by this, or just be prepared for a lot more of it.
It's gonna be more.
And by the way, guys, I do think, by the way, Andrew, some people are gonna feel some type of way about me seeing this. I think it's an interesting question because obviously we're raised in the Western society, specifically America, which has the most soft power, right? Is it okay for Saudi Arabia to demand that there's like no LGBT scenes in it? Because obviously it doesn't vibe with their traditional culture.
Oh, you mean of other movies? They have
like
banned,
if when you want to import American movies into Saudi Arabia, they're pretty strict.
Yeah, they also go through censorship
about like their sets of values, right?
Exactly.
And like China's sets of values tend to be, I mean, I think there may be some stuff that, but it's different. It's like, yeah, I could see why people think it's like more about geopolitics on the China side, and Saudi Arabia is more on like hyper religious values.
Guys, religion or geopolitics, listen, there's like reasons for everything. I guess you could weigh it out and you can, in your opinion, decide which reasons are sillier than others.
And then some people were giving Sony props, and some people were like, don't give Sony props, because if the Japanese could have easily made the edit, they would have. So who knows?
I don't know, man. Everybody's pointing fingers at everybody, like the Spider-Man meme.
No. Yeah, everybody's pointing fingers at each other. It's like Spider-Man pointing fingers at Spider-Man, and it's crazy because the piece of news could have been fundamentally false off the rip. But this is the world we live in, guys.
Check your sources. All right, everybody, let us know in the comments down below what you think about all this. What do you think the real reason is? Do you believe this reason? Or is there something else that makes sense, guys? Oh, by the way, yes, go watch the movie. It's a great movie. I really enjoyed it. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. That is the Hot Pop Boys, and until next time, we out.
Peace.